Welcome again to Coach's Corner. We're on episode 12. I mean, wow, this is moving pretty fast. And, I appreciate everybody's support and, all our subscribers out there and our love that we're getting. And I really, really appreciate it. Today we have a really, really, really special guest here today. We have Coach Tara Orr from Femmex Boxing in Newark, New Jersey. She runs a nonprofit women's boxing class.
The whole thing is
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nonprofit. Former fighter, taking it to the coaching level right now, and she's here to talk about a little bit about what she does. And the sport of boxing right now is evolving, and the women's end of it, Coach, is really exciting now. And I welcome you to Coach's Corner, and thank you for coming up here today. And thanks for being on.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me the space to share what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so obviously I'm a little older and saw the women's end when it was first evolving, especially in the tri-state area, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the level of, women athletes in all sports and boxing is evolved, that it's exciting to watch now. The competition level, the skill level, mm-hmm. The training level is really, really high now.
Yeah.
It's not like maybe when it first started where everybody's like, oh, what's going on here? But a lot of the women out there today are really working hard. And, I shout out to that, a lot of the female fighters. And we kind of want to hear how you got involved in this sport and, the things you're doing right now.
So I think to speak on what you just mentioned about the training aspect of it and just women being involved in the sport, as involved as they are now in this sport and where it kind of came from. And I remember Christy Martin says it in her documentary.
Right.
But she said it in person too. Like when she went into the gym to be coached, nobody would coach her. And she was the only woman in the gym. No one would spar with her. No one would hold mitts for her. No one would coach her. Nobody wanted to because they didn't take women seriously in the sport. But the thing about the training is I believe, and from my experience and from things that I've heard and conversations that I've had with former world champions, women world champions, we've always trained as hard as the men. So we've always been in the cut with the men. We just didn't have the same opportunities that the men did because we had a lot more to prove. Yeah,
I've trained some women fighters and been around them, and I've always felt that the women fighters worked harder. Mm-hmm. They were more diligent with taking instruction because they were always, look, in most of the gyms, there's more men fighters than women, mm-hmm. okay? No disrespect to anybody out there today. It's just the way it is, right? Mm-hmm. So the women are always under the scrutiny of there are more eyes on them, especially if you have one has some talent and is being very serious about the sport.
Yeah. And that's where Femmex Boxing comes in. I wanted to create a space that was just for women so that we could kind of foster that mentality and that discipline and that way of life, but just with women. So Femmex Boxing is not anti-man and I'm very diligent in saying that it's not anti-man at all. We need men, but I do also believe that a lot of the relationship between men and women, there's a lot of healing to do in general and in everyday life. So I'm a very solution-oriented female. So how do we do that? Women have to heal themselves, and then we can work on do baby steps, one step at a time. Women need a space to come and heal. So in all of my experience fighting, being coached, having a number of different coaches, because I moved around a lot. So having a number of different coaches, coming back here, coaching, working with kids, working with, people in their 20s, some in their 30s, men and women. I just kind of took everything and pieced together Femmex Boxing. So there isn't a space that is just for women. There isn't a space that you can come learn how to box. You can feel welcome in whatever kind of experience level you're at. There's a space for you to drop your kids off so that they can be looked after while you're taking care of yourself. There isn't a space that also has a nutritional aspect to it. There isn't a space that also has an educational aspect to it. Women need to know about the resources that they can access in their city. So I've tried to access resources in my own city, and it was challenging for me. So I don't have any kids.
Right.
So I can't imagine how much more challenging and more difficult that is for kids. Every single one of my friends, with the exception of like one or two, they all have children. And one of the biggest things when it comes to taking care of themselves, the kids always come first. It's just the way that it is. A lot of my friends are single moms. My brother is a single father, and it's hard for him to get to the gym. He's got a toddler, you know? So I'm like, okay, well, what's the solution around that? Create a space where you just drop the babies off. They're in a safe space. You know, go take care of yourself, work out, have it be for free. So once I start learning how the business aspect of a nonprofit works, shout out to my nonprofit advisory board. Jeff and Vince are a whole nother set of dads that I got,
Right.
you know, and they've been helping me and basically holding my hand this whole last year, helping me, you know, with the paperwork and the do this and don't do that and reach out to this person, stay away from this person, that kind of thing. Bringing all of this together and making it all like we're working on getting our own space. We're working with the city of Newark to make that happen. There's a whole bunch of different layers to it. I've partnered with Planned Parenthood, Madison Realty, so she can come and teach women about the home buying process.
So you're wearing a lot of hats here other than coaching.
Yeah.
You're creating a coaching space and bringing your boxing experience, okay? So, you know, you definitely have credibility in the sport of boxing as a coach, you know, as a former boxer. You know, shout out to Coach Al for putting us together from Pros A Boxing.
Yep,
you know?
yep.
Our guy, you know, check him out. Great equipment, great guy. Been a great supporter of us up here. Which, you know, for a lot of people who don't know, us boxing coaches do wear a lot of hats. We're not just in there. You know, we're close to the people that we work with on a daily basis.
Community is small.
Yeah, the community is small.
I mean, we're in Connecticut, and I drove up here from New Jersey, and we got connected.
Yeah. So and look, and vice versa, right? Our gym is in Connecticut, but I'm affiliated with gyms in Jersey. I'm
Right.
down there through our fighters. You know, we network, right?
Right,
Coaches,
right.
We're looking to help each other. We're looking
Exactly.
to be better.
Yep.
Right. But getting back to what we do in the gym, we are dealing with people on a personal level.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we have a saying over at Champs, you know, AJ, we're managing personalities.
Absolutely. That is exactly what
Every
you
day.
do. Yep.
You know, we're managing personalities. And
Yeah.
you know what? We're not getting credit as psychologists, but
No.
we're managing personalities.
But yeah.
So now you're taking this a step in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
You're incorporating the boxing end, which you do in a non-traditional way of just a gym, a basic boxing gym.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to add life skills, I would say, also,
Yeah.
and you know, daily living
All
and support. And you're doing this on your own, or
yeah. Yes.
you don't have any other coaches right now?
Nope. So all of the principles and disciplines that come with boxing, just naturally, you're in it every day like I am. It spills over into everything else into your life, right? And so, and I found
it
that
consumes it.
Yeah, it does. And it's not just the coaching mentality. Like, you know, when you're training, the disciplines that you have to follow in order to get ready for a fight or to get your fighter ready for a fight, you have to do certain things. And it is a lifestyle. It is not, when people say we don't play boxing, that's a real thing. You don't play boxing.
No.
It's not something you pick up,
No.
you know.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand
Well, and then
about
you have
that.
clowns like, what's his ass? I'm not thinking of his name right now. Shit. The dude in the chicken suit. He just did the Amanda Serrano fight. Jake Paul. Thank you. You got clowns like that who do pick it up and play boxing because he's got a lot of money to throw at a good coach to get trained up, right? That's not real life. Like, his whole situation is not, he never boxed before. He decided he wanted to do it.
But on the flip side with him is I do give him credit because of this, and I've talked about this with other guests. He doesn't have to box.
No.
Okay, and we know it from being in it. he does train hard.
That's fine.
And you know what?
But so do my guys in Newark that don't have enough money to throw at a trainer like he does.
I understand that.
He's eating off their plates, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's a whole separate conversation you and I can get into. Yes, he's good at boxing. I mean, the numbers show he's good at boxing. But you have people like that. Where did this tangent even come off of? Put us back on the track. What were we talking about before that?
What it takes in the behind the scenes, what people don't see. And this is another thing we've talked about with many different people here. People don't see what we're doing, like you said, whether it's preparing a fighter to get ready for fight, amateur, pro, whatever the case may be, or just working with someone who has a passion for the sport. They may not want to fight, you know, because I'm sure you coach like we do, all right? We coach whether you're a fighter or not. If you're a client, you get treated like a fighter. I don't have a filter. I'm sorry. Like, you know what? And I'm going to train a woman fighter, and I tell her the same way I'm going to train a man. There's no different.
Yeah.
Okay? You're going to be treated the same way. Okay?
My cousin told me if I didn't know you, you would be, to me, you'd be scary to train with and to work out with. And I was like, what? you know? What? Like, it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, because you're like super intense. And then I thought about it, and it's exactly what you're saying.
Is it intense, or is it passionate and making sure, like, goes back to the same thing? Boxing is not a sport we play.
Right. It's that.
Okay? So someone comes in, right? Coach Tara, I want you to train me, my son, my daughter, whatever it is, right? That person, if you're going to take them, it's one thing if you're holding pads and just doing conditioning. You're never going to put them in a situation where they might spar or being competitive. You get to that level that you're going to bring them to sparring, not even competitive, just to get them in the ring to spar with another individual. You have to protect that fighter.
They have to know what they're doing.
You have to make sure that that person is prepared, that you've done your work. Because at the end of the day, we talk about this as coaches and other coaches that, look, I'm going to do my job. The coaching staff's going to do our job. We're going to prepare you. If I feel that we didn't prepare you right, or the coaches feel that, we're not putting you in the situation.
Right. And it takes months to get to that point. You know, months of work and months of conditioning.
Well, just what you said, the other thing is like, there is a plan in effect.
Yeah.
Like, you know, preparing someone that comes to you and say, Coach, I want to lose weight. I want to learn to box. I want to do this. Whatever it is. Okay. Excuse me. We go back and we sit, at least I do too, and I'm sure you do. And I'm saying, okay, let me see what we can do. Diet, training, and you try to put it all together.
Yep.
You try to put it all together. We're not just winging it.
No. These people are paying me money.
Whether they're paying, you know what? And look, whether they're paying you money or not, I mean, I don't coach in the sense like that. Pay or non-pay.
Well, I just have clients right now.
You get the same version of me.
Yeah.
You get the same version of me. You know what I mean? Within reason.
I've had a couple of people. This whole last year has been a lot of trial and error. So I have had my fair share of people that they want to work out once a week, which is fine. But they're not working out outside of our session. They watch a lot of TV as soon as they get home from work at night. They're not really using their brains. They're not drinking a lot of water. So then when they show up again next week and the following weeks after, there's, you know, they're not really seeing a lot of progress. They're trying to put it on me. And I'm very real with people. I'm like, you cannot just come to my session. I'm not your Band-Aid. Like, if you want to really make some changes, we can work together in sessions, but the rest of it's on you. And I can help you with how to implement what you need in order to make the changes, but I can't. You got to put this. What I tell people is, look, you cannot drive the car and use up all the gas. You got to put a little gas in the tank yourself. Yeah. Okay, because it's going to end up being on empty, and then it's on you. But let's 360 here a little bit, and let's get back to you a little bit. What led you to boxing, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the beginnings of Femmex boxing. What drew you to the sport? My brothers boxed when I was a kid, and my brothers were just the homies, like, growing up. Like, we were super tight and outside all the time, all day long, until we couldn't be anymore. And played baseball with my brother Garrett. Then I play softball with the girls. I wanted to play baseball with
Right.
him, you know. He boxed, my brother Corey boxed, and I really, really wanted to box. My mom wanted me to do like dance or ballet or whatever, and I did ballet, but I got picked on, and I was like, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. You know? Then, you know, fast forward, I moved to Colorado. I start with a personal trainer, and I was working at Subaru at the time, so I'd wake up at like, I'd meet the trainer at the gym at like 4:30 in the morning, and we'd work out for an hour and a half, and then I'd get ready at the gym and go to work and work like 12-hour days. Like I was like just running from something and trying not to deal with it. And he just threw gloves on me one day, and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen boxing before, sure.
Yeah.
Like everybody does, I can box. And didn't really tell me what to do, just held mitts for me. Didn't tell me how to do anything.
Right.
Just started hitting
Didn't
stuff.
give you a
No,
foundation.
he wasn't really a boxing coach. He just was doing something else in our sessions, like a lot of trainers do. And I just felt relaxed afterwards. And it was the thing that made me feel in control and relaxed.
Right.
And I was trying to find that, but I was trying to do it with yoga or Pilates or working out or running. I ran a lot. And that was the only thing that did it for me. And I was like, it was like a light bulb. I was like, oh, I really like this. And so I just pursued it, got more serious with it, wound up dating somebody that was a
fighter?
Yeah, he was a fighter. He was an amateur fighter. So I learned a lot from him, and like, you know, it's something we would do together.
Right.
And, you know, that's just how it came. And it just was always a thing that I could access no matter where I was in the world. I always had it. And then it wound up making me feel like after I was sexually assaulted, the last time I was sexually assaulted, it was like pretty brutal. And it happened not too long ago. It was when I lived in Maui. And it's the only thing afterwards, my brain went into this weird space. And I have said it before on other podcasts, a lot of us don't make it out of that space. And we just operate from that space from then on out. And I just knew that I could, like, I knew I couldn't continue to operate out of that space. I needed to do something. And I got a knife, and my therapist was like, you don't want anybody close enough to you to be able to use your knife. And I was like, okay, you're right. It was like a heavy duty, like you put your knuckles in the handle and, you know, really like mess somebody up with it. And I was like, okay, well, do I get a gun? And she was like, no, maybe we don't get a gun. You know, we don't want to be doing that. And I was just desperately trying to find a way to protect myself and make myself feel strong.
A defense mechanism there for yourself to make yourself right.
Because I was working out. Mostly I was working out twice a day, or I would work out and I would run. And I lived in Maui, so it was dreamy to run there.
It's beautiful out there,
yeah.
so it's...
Ran all the time, just enjoyed it. But I also was trying to make myself strong, but I wasn't taking care of myself. So it was kind of counterintuitive.
You were keeping your mind busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was
kind of
again running
deal
from
with your
something.
situation at the time.
Yep.
And which a lot of us do. And we know, being in the boxing world, there's a lot of fighters that are like that too. And
yeah, they got stuff going on.
But you know, as fighters, we find ourselves.
Yeah, I just always had it, you know. And my therapist said, "Why don't you try? Why not? Why aren't you boxing? Try boxing again." And I was like, you know what, you're right. It was COVID, so I just would hit the post in the garage. I found my gloves again, hit the post in the garage. I'd just go out there and just hit the post with my hands, gloved up, obviously, but run. I started incorporating that again. Okay, cool. Moved back here. First thing I did, found a gym.
Right.
And a shout out to XFit Boxing in Union, New Jersey. Coach Amik, he helped me out a lot. He had no idea what I was going through. He probably knew I was going through something as a coach, but he just...
So, you know, as coaches, I want to touch on just what you're saying, right? I think if you're a good coach, and this is not just a boxing coach, but you're a good coach and you're working with people one-on-one. Not necessarily one-on-one, but you're working with your athletes. A good coach is going to get to know your ins and outs and your triggers and what's going on.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
indirectly, but you see and can tell when people come through the gym if they're dealing with something or why they're there.
Yeah, you just know.
You know, and I think, you know, it doesn't come out in the first meeting with a coach. Oh, by the way, you I had this situation, or I was divorced, or, the relationship's not good, whatever the case that's going on in their lives. But as they get comfortable, they start to open up. Mm-hmm. And I think you need that as a coach to kind of know, how can I coach this individual?
Yeah.
Where can I push? Where can I not? Where can I go with certain triggers, verbally, to see what's going to make them better.
What drives that person?
What drives that person?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what we want to nurture, right? And he did that for me, absolutely, without us even ever having to have a conversation, right? He paid attention and he knew. And it was a space for me to go in and just like be safe in,
space.
Yeah. And then from there, every single woman that I the thing about me is that it doesn't matter if it's one of the homeless people that stays in my hood that I live in, or if it's the woman at the post office, or if it's my mailman, or one of the people at the gym that I go to, the Planet Fitness I go to. I know all about his girlfriend that he's getting back together with. Right. I never asked him any of those questions. They just tell me. Like
they open up to you.
Yeah, people just tell me their deepest, darkest, and I'm like, okay.
They must, you must give them a vibe that they feel comfortable with, or
which, cool. Yeah. Okay, I'm
right.
All right.
Or maybe it's a couple of words that you say.
Get comfortable, girl, because we're going to be here for another 10 minutes listening to this dude about his girlfriend. They're going to the museum and whatever, going to get pizza after. I know what they're doing tomorrow. Like, you know, which I love. I'm not throwing shade, but yeah, so people just, it comes up. Like, you're a boxer, you box. What do you do? Oh, I'm a boxing coach. Oh, but before, I box. It was COVID, right? That's all I did. So, do you coach? And then it was like, ding, like, why am I not coaching? I have enough experience under my belt to coach. And so, okay, what do I have to do now in order to be legit, in order to be able to coach, get USA Boxing certified, take this test, get these certifications, whatever. So I did all of that. I spent the time during COVID, and towards the tail end of it, I got certified, really just like dove deep into it, found a completely new love and passion within the sport. And then, got locked in with a gym.
Yeah, but obvious, you're in Jersey. Mm-hmm. And for people in the tri-state area, look, there are a lot of great gyms in where we are right now, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, especially down in that Newark, Jersey City area towards Philly. A lot of great coaches down there, a lot of gyms that people don't know of some of these coaches. We see it at the amateur level when they come to tournaments, when they come there. These kids are well prepared. They're well trained. You have coaches putting time in.
Yeah.
So now you're delving into the coaching end of it, and you're around people who coach, know how to build fighters, know how to train. So I use the term a lot, internship. You're doing your internship.
Absolutely.
You're learning your sport, and because you're transitioning from an athlete to a coach. And there is a little bit of a transition.
Absolutely.
Not every athlete transitions from being a successful athlete to a good coach.
Yeah,
vice versa. You know what I mean? So
and there's not a lot of female coaches either. Like, people remember who you are because you're one of two maybe in the room at a tournament, or two or three. There's only a couple.
No, there's only a couple, and we've had a few in Connecticut here that are doing some good things. Yeah. And you know what? At this sport, it's tough at any level, whether you're a male or female, to get respect as a coach. You got to kind of earn your stripes.
Yeah.
You got to but I'm sure, like, what did you see stigmatism as a female fighter, and then the transition? Maybe you could talk a little bit about that and within reason. So now you're out here boxing, you're full into it. What's the stigmatism out there? What are you hearing?
Everyone always thinks I'm somebody's wife.
Meaning,
like, oh, are you coach's wife?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like, no, I'm his coach.
Right.
I'm her coach. Like,
I got you.
Yeah. Or they don't say anything. They avoid me, and then they'll see me getting in and out of the ring in between rounds, and help. And they're like, oh, you did so great. Blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, I just wanted to know that you knew what you were doing. Like that, I've had that said that to me, those very words said to me a bunch of times. I'm like, what? How, you know, I understand it. It doesn't bother me anymore. It used to bother me. It used to make me want to, you know, square up with people. But it's just like an ignorance thing. Everybody just always thinks I'm somebody's wife, arm candy. You know, it's not that I have skill or talent,
but see,
or I'm experienced, or...
Here's the thing, right? We're starting to see women evolve into men's sports more as coaches. Major League Baseball, we're seeing women as coaches out there now.
Formula One.
Yes, we're seeing, you know, front office women running organization, multi-million-dollar sports organization. Our sport is you get to see what a coach does. And you as a coach, you know. They know it. This coach might know what they're doing. This coach might not, whatever the case may be. As a coach, we're watching you or another coach, and you're working with your fighters. That's going to show right off the rip if you know what you're doing, how you handle yourself. If you're handling somebody in a corner, if you're doing pads, if you're teaching. Okay. You know, we can see that result right there. I think, I don't know, it's just maybe intimidating for people, and they're unsure. Probably.
And that's the part that I needed to kind of step back and understand and not take personally at all. Because I think that was my mistake. The first, like, 1 or 2 fights that I coached at, I did kind of, what the fuck? Like, you know?
Yeah, you're worrying about what everybody's thinking and everybody's saying and focusing on the fight.
Well, no, I was locked into the fight, and I was locked into my fighter, and I didn't realize.
Was it a male or a female fighter?
It was both.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to ask you something to let you finish, but then I'm going to ask you something. Go ahead.
So I was locked in on them, helping them, getting them warmed up, wrapping their hands, not realizing, or realizing just in general, people are always watching you. They're always watching you no matter what they say, and not really realizing the heaviness of that. And it's very real. People are watching you. And that's just me. I'm just like, la, 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 like just locked in and zoned in. And then 3 or 4 fights, like, oh, yeah, I saw you at the last fight. Oh, I saw you with Cherish. Oh, I saw you with Josiah, or, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, are you still at that gym? You still coach with that gym? Like, whatever. So people, and I'm like, people are watching. Like, they're paying attention. And I need to be a little bit more, like, head on a swivel and, like, mindful of how I'm carrying myself and the energy that I'm putting off and whatever. I had to check myself for sure, because it's not, you sometimes only get one shot to make an impression with people. And I do want people to take me seriously. And I do want people to know that I do know what I'm doing and that I care very much about what I'm doing. I've made a lot of sacrifices to do what I'm doing. I love it, you know, but I want people to get that full.
You want people to realize that you're doing it for the same reasons that they're doing it, and be on that level and be accepted as a fellow coach, a mentor.
Yes.
Now, what I wanted to ask you is, obviously, you know, what is your response with a male fighter? How are they responding to you as a coach? And do you coach differently at that point than when you're coaching a female? No, I don't coach them differently. It's interesting. I think that the male fighters, the dynamic that we had at the gym that I was coaching with was that I couldn't treat them any differently, because if you're like a little softer on one, like it's just natural, people will just kind of take advantage, and not even in like a bad way. It's just they'll want you to go a little softer on them forever. And it's like even just one little slip, you can't be like, you can't show your cards at all. You have one hat, you wear it, you never take it off. That is what it is. But there has to be some kind of, it's this fine line that I think I had to master just even existing in the world, but especially in this profession, is I want you to feel love when you are around me, and I want you to feel loved, but don't fucking play with me. And so it's very much that, and it's learning that balance of like, why are you 30 minutes late? Get the fuck out of the gym. Or why didn't you show up you said you were going to be here yesterday, now you can't fight. And I always wondered, why is the coach saying that to them? Like,
They have a lot of stuff going on, and it's, you know, that he would say those things to them for a reason, you know? So he was a little extreme mostly, but for the most part, I understand what he was trying to instill in all of his fighters is this is a priority. You treat it as such, you know? And so
there's got to be accountability.
Absolutely.
Because
and you're
look,
teaching these kids that. Like you're teaching, and I say kids, I mean 20-something-year-old.
But, you know, in the sense we are teaching them that. But remember also, look, your time is out there.
That
your
part
time
too.
is out there too. So, like, if you're slotting time.
I'm showing up on a Saturday at 10 o'clock. I walked here. Where the fuck were you?
Yeah.
You know?
How come I'm here, you're not here type of thing?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm scheduling a time for you when maybe I have to reschedule for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. That was a
and
big
look,
part of
this
it
is
too.
the other thing. What people don't realize, you know, we're 24/7, 365. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter. I've worked with fighters in the middle of the night, the morning, whatever the case. Our coaches, we work on Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is. If a guy's getting ready or a girl's getting ready to fight, we're in the gym. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I get that dynamic of, you know, holding accountable towards that. My thing is, if you can coach, you coach.
Right.
I don't care who you are.
Exactly.
Okay. If you're a good coach, you're a good coach.
Yep.
I think, you know, getting back to what we said about a lot of female coaches coming into the game, and I have a very, very good friend of mine. She lives in Montreal. She was a female fighter, Kathleen Sharp, and shout out to her. Probably one of the most knowledgeable person in boxing that I know. She grew up with Arturo Gatti, used to run and train with him.
Cool.
Her family was the Hilton family out of, you know, Davey Hilton was a world champion, and Mr. Hilton was the trainer. And she knows more about boxing and training than a lot of people that I do know.
Okay.
Shout out to her. So, you know, and she is not an easy person when it comes to boxing.
Okay.
If she's training or working with you, you better be ready to go, and it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
If you're not all in,
You kind of have to be like that.
don't be, you know, knocking on my door. But you know, so now you're transitioning here. You're in the gym.
Now I'm running a business, so
Yeah,
I'm stepping
but
away from
where
the
does this come
coaching.
from now? Where does Femmex? Where does the idea for Femmex start now? And where does it start as the fact now that you're looking to establish a nonprofit organization, which I think, look, is a great thing, giving back.
It is established. I worked very hard. It
is established
yeah, it's
already.
registered.
Okay.
Yeah, for a
You're
year now.
building it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Is
what
that
I'm trying
correct?
to establish is a brick and mortar. Is what I'm
Okay,
trying
so
to establish.
you're trying to parlay it into
is what I am establishing. Yes.
right into a building. Okay,
where I can
got
just
you.
run all my programming and all my classes out of one space.
Right.
So, which is in the works. We're just being patient and waiting.
Right.
This stuff takes time. So, the coaching thing happened, learned how to coach, transitioning into what I'm doing now, the relationship that I had with the gym that I was coaching out of. Newark is a good old boys club, right? It's like this with a lot of cities. The boxing world is also a good old boys club. I'm just going to come right out and say it, right?
Listen, and in that inner city area, you do have a lot of gyms that have been there, a lot of trainers, and I'm not going to start naming them because I don't want to leave anybody out, but there are a lot of old school trainers down there.
Yeah, which is great, and
Yeah.
they have a lot to bring to the table. They have a lot of experience. The coaches at the gym I was at have a lot of experience. They're wonderful, but they were just threatened by me, and they did not like. They had a certain idea of what it is that I was doing, which is far from what I am actually doing. But they also didn't want to take the time to learn what it is that I'm doing. And I had a conversation, one of the last conversations I had with them. I said to them, hold up, you're questioning my character and my intentions, and I do not fuck with that. I don't. And so I'm out. Like, we just parted ways, right? Literally turned the car around, dropped my keys off that night. Because that is a no tolerance policy with me. You do not question my intentions. You don't question my character. If you do, you don't fuck with me, that's cool. We don't have to fuck with each other. But if you don't fuck with me, you don't fuck with me. So, that was that. And I'm like, okay, that happened for a reason, because I'm not supposed to be not wasting my time, but I'm not supposed to be putting my energy into that anymore. I got to be putting my energy into...
You have a vision right now that you're focusing on it.
That only I can understand, right? It's not... I can
that's how a lot of great
people.
things... That great things come from... Look, that person is always like, what is he doing?
Right. If you don't understand that's
cool. Thomas Edison
cool.
created electricity. He was probably doubted. People said, what the hell is he doing? Look where we are today.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, like, great things start from your vision and passion.
Something seemingly obscure.
Exactly. and it's, you know what? People are threatened by things that are not, I don't know the word I'm trying to look for here to say, but I don't see what you're doing as a threat as a coach. I think today, as coaches, as, you know, anybody being successful, whoever's going to help our team or organization be better, let's do it. And, you know, we know boxing doesn't get the greatest name right there.
Right.
And there are so many people out there doing great things for their community, for their kids, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, unfortunately, Newark is not a very easy city to live in. It is tough out there.
Yep.
Okay. And what you're doing has to have, you know, I think it's very big of you to even be thinking of this outside the box.
Thank you.
Because you're not putting yourself first. You're putting something else first.
Yeah. And it has been a great challenge to not be hardened by all of the obstacles. I've only experienced obstacles in this. I finally got a yes not that long ago. And it's been 2 years of me trying to, you know, offer this programming and get my own space and going to check out physical locations. Once people... It's been a lot of things. The whole thing's been a learning process. I've learned so much stuff, and it's been, and I'm super grateful for all of it. I really mean it. It's not just some cheesy shit that I'm saying. I really mean it. Because of everything that I've learned, and it's shaping me into a new woman and into a better coach and into another version of myself that I've been dying to get into.
What's happening now is that you are a coach, but you're taking on another responsibility now that's bigger than just coaching.
Yeah, it's because this is where Femmex boxing comes in, right? I'm walking my dog one night, and this is like a year and a half ago. Been in my neighborhood for a while, and it's a quieter street. It looks like a dead end, but it's definitely not. And there's a VA shelter at the end of my street, so every once in a while you get somebody that's a little unhinged, like comes off a broad street, you know. And whatever, I'm walking my dog, and this guy, he's like, kind of looks a little funny. I don't know what he's on. He passes me, and I look right at him to let him know, like, I see you. And I'm waiting. I don't hear his footsteps anymore, and he's directly behind me. So I just pivoted.
Right.
And I got into my stance, and he starts, like, saying I don't know what to me. And I said, I think you should get the fuck away from me. And I just locked eyes with him. And I didn't break anything. My dog's trying to pull me, and she's like barking like crazy. She's got a big mohawk, you know. And this dude spit at me a couple times. He's like calling me every name under the sun. But he walked away from me. And like it took a little bit, and he turned around a couple times, but I just stayed where I was at, and I stood my ground, and he knew that I was going to be a problem if he tried to fuck with me. And he walked away from me. And then afterwards I was like, whew, like, you know, oh shit.
Sorry.
And then like, you know, like my adrenaline kicked in, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, all right, we got to get back in the house. But I was like, afterwards, I'm like, damn, I got to teach this to other women. Like I have to, because I didn't have to get hurt, and I didn't have to hurt him. Nobody used any physical anything. Right. And that's just because I knew how to use my body the right way.
But you, it's not more than your body too. It's also your mental.
Right, because I was cool as a cucumber.
Right, you knew how to react in the situation, right? Like being in a fight.
Cool as a cucumber, right? Yeah. I'm sizing him up, and I'm like, how big is this guy? What am I gonna hit first? You know, how far away should I keep?
Where am I gonna move?
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep my distance. So
the road is over here. I can move past him to the left, like whatever. Like, I'm literally just calculating.
And that's what boxing is. You know, people watch it and they see two people fighting and being aggressive. It's controlled chaos, but there is a dynamic to what's going on. There is a thought process on.
So much mindfulness, and you have to be tactful, and it's like, you know.
But also the relaxation part that you came in. because if you're look, we have the anxiety, right? A fighter has anxiety. They can bullshit us all they want and tell you going in that ring there is some sort of anxiety.
Yeah, you're gonna shit your brains out before you start to fight.
Something, right? It's when you can control that anxiety, and like you hear people say, "Oh, I didn't hear the crowd at all. It was just me." And a fight will come back, and I didn't hear anybody, but I heard you, coach.
Yep. Yes.
They heard your voice, and 16,000
what
people
you were
yelling,
calling out. Yep.
Calling your name, saying shit about your mother, whatever the hell it is they're doing out there. They heard, and shout out to Philly. If you fought in Philly, my God, forget about it.
Or if you had any of those motherfuckers come up to any of your fights, they roll up real fast.
We fought at the casino down at the Park Casino in Philly, and we're working ringside. And the people sitting behind it, I'm trying not to laugh at some of the stuff they're abusing.
My God,
They're abusing us like no means. You know what I mean?
But
but getting back to that, so now you're starting this up. You're looking for your brick and mortar. You're gonna put it out. You're gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen when Coach Tara starts to? This takes a little wildfire. Are you looking to be more out of Newark? Is this something that's going to take a bigger spectrum for you, maybe nationwide, statewide?
Yeah.
Are you looking for, and what do you think your mantra is going to be?
The mantra, I've been trying to decide if I want to share this with people because it's kind of silly, but I say it in my head all the time. It's how I go to sleep at night. When I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing that I say to myself. And I'm not sure if I want to
put it out there yet.
Yeah, I'm just deciding. Do I want to
fine.
because it's, I don't know.
Obviously, you have something in mind.
Yeah, I do.
So
I do.
I like that.
I don't think people know me well enough yet for me to just blurt it out and people get it. But anyways, you can be the first to know when I do decide to.
You can tell me off of this if you want. Okay, we'll talk about it off of that.
So, yes, I want this to be available in every city that will have us. I think that this hub, this hub women need access to it everywhere, right? What I said at the beginning, this is about healing, and you do that from the inside, and then you work, and then it comes on the outside after. So you have a space you can come, and every single woman, I've always wanted to try that, always wanted to try that. Why haven't you? Well, there isn't really any boxing gyms around me, or they're too expensive, or it's kind of intimidating. There's usually only dudes in there, which is true. None of these boxing gyms ever have ever said, no women allowed. You're not allowed to come in here. They don't say that. It's just the way, it's a feeling, and it's a confidence thing.
Listen, and honestly, I run a women's class at Champs Boxing. We have women over there, and we have a very, very good space. But I get what you're saying about it. There are women, look, if you come in mainstream at 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's predominantly guys.
Yeah.
You have young kids, maybe whatever, who's training at that. Okay? It is a little intimidating for women to come in there and want to get comfortable and, train. And there are a lot of women that want to train. And I think the reality is they want to train in a facility that's a realistic boxing gym, not some bougie little gym with, somebody holding mitts with one bag and saying we're a boxing gym. They want to be treated. I have a woman that I train right now. She's a housewife, a mother, comes in and trains with me, and she wants to be trained like a fighter. That's what she comes here. You know what I mean? And she gets put through everything that, a fighter would get put through. But I agree. I think, we do the women's class, it's only women.
Right. There's something about when women get together in a space and we're doing something collectively as a group.
Right.
There's nothing like it. There really isn't. I run this class at Coliseum Gym in Newark on Wednesday nights, and it is all older women, and I fucking love that class. I love it. They're grandmas, they're aunties. There's a woman last night that came in that was with her mom, and she's my age.
Right.
And so her mom is older, and they for whatever reason, I've also noticed this was another reason why I gravitated towards women. They pick it up so quickly, right? Women, you've probably had this experience, like where we're at, I can teach almost all the throws, like in one class. This is the first time I ever did this with this class, older women. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know who was going to come in. It's all these older ladies. I'm like, have you ever boxed before? They're like, no, but we bought gloves. We've been waiting for this class to happen. And I'm like, amazing. I teach them 1, 2, and 3 all in the same class, and I put gloves on them because I was comfortable, and I was like, okay, they got this enough for me to be able to like at least use my pool noodles, right?
Yeah.
Got the noodles. Some of them had nails. I didn't want to like bust their sets, so I'm like, go nice and easy. They get the hang of it. Everybody's sweating. Everybody loved it. They come, they tell their friends. Every time I have this class, there's like 3 new people in the class. They're just like telling their friends, you got to come. And it's just, there's something about it. And I'm so excited for this space to come to fruition and for it to be a tangible place people can come and hang out, bring your babies, learn about nutrition, learn about healthy, bank accounts, learn about your bodies. There's so much shit that I learned about my body that I've had for 36 years in the last year or two of my life,
The other thing is you're bringing validity and credibility to it.
Okay,
right. You're talking from the sense of not only a coach, but someone who experienced it and who's went through different situations that you can say, hey, maybe not in front of a group, but you could sidebar and say, look, I went through that crap. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we're going to work through it.
Yeah.
Again, back to the women. Women are sponges. You're right. They pick up. We have, Stephanie Moss, who fights out of our gym, single mother. When she came in, she was a softball player in college.
Okay.
And picked up boxing within like this.
Yeah.
Started training, picked it up.
Yeah.
Almost to the point, and she'll know what I'm talking about. Now she's like, I'm like, Steph, you've done very well for the amount of time you've progressed. Sometimes I think that, the women put a lot of pressure on themselves because they feel, but, as coaches, if you only have somebody, whether it's a woman or a male, training for a year, 2 years, 3 years, there's no fast track.
No.
Because look, maybe as coaches, and I haven't been where I've had a Derek Jeter or a Michael Jordan, an extraordinary individual who's just so talented from day one that, at that point, anybody can coach them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a process of the way we have to teach fundamentally. How to stand, how to throw a punch.
Why are you standing that way?
Why are you standing that way?
Why are you turning your fist over?
Then you
what
take
does
the other
that do?
factor in. Are you in shape? Because if you're not in shape, we can't. Okay, if we got to get you in shape, we can't get to the fundamentals right away.
Right.
Or we can't focus on the fundamentals if you can't perform. So there is a process, and I think what happens with successful people, they come in and they feel that they should be picking up boxing faster than what it is.
Yeah. And I've run into that with the classes that I teach at. I teach a lot at apartment buildings. To the residents. The apartment building will make a contract with me so that it's free for the residents to come. And mainly it's women because they want to learn self-defense. But every once in a while you'll get the occasional man that comes in and he's in his 20s, early 30s, and he's like, are we going to put gloves on today? And I'm like, absolutely not, because he's standing like this, and he's like, I'm like, he's like, are we going to put gloves on? Because I'm like, no, bro, we're learning today. We're learning the next 3 times. You're going to come in here just so you know what to expect. Because when you put gloves on and I have mitts on too, I have to feel safe. You're bigger than me, so I have to know that you know what you're doing so that I can respond accordingly. This isn't just you put a pair of gloves on and you hit some stuff. It's not what boxing is. It's this whole education
it's not a backyard brawl.
No, it's not.
And
this isn't.
We see it. You see the guys that come in and they think and they go up against a fighter who's been trained and
but they also don't want to. They don't want to listen either. They don't want to take instruction from a woman and they don't want to turn their foot or their shoulder.
It's not just being a woman. I hate to tell you, Coach.
Is it?
You know what it is? Some people come in as fighters, and you know what? Look, you go to another professional sport, you're going to listen to the coach.
Totally.
For some fighters, man, especially as they gain a little knowledge, they want to be the coach at some point. And I've run into this. It's like, okay, bro, that's great. But, if you want to run your career or you want to train yourself, train yourself.
Yeah. Go
crazy.
Crazy.
And I think it's just like, okay. And, I've run into that too, where people are like, they come in, I'm like, listen, this is the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and back in the day, from some of the coaches I went to, if you couldn't have your stance and throw a 1-2, they wouldn't even let you hit the bag. Forget about pads.
Oh, absolutely. That's how I roll.
Forget about pads.
That's how I roll.
And then that was the first thing is, look, go jump rope, do your running, shadow box, and then we're going to talk about the training today.
Yeah, a lot of my clients, you have to teach them how to jump rope. They don't know how to do it.
Yeah, no, I did. Well, look, that's a dying breed today because, look, I'm a little older, right? So I remember actually people, double dutching in the street when I was younger.
When we were kids, that's
you know
how
what
we,
I mean? So it was, you don't see that today. They don't even know what the hell it is.
Or when they do jump rope, it's like how you did when you were in school.
Yeah. Or jumping rope, or you know what, playing hopscotch.
Yeah.
Things like doing athletic things like that transitioned into
cute, but that's not what we're doing here.
No. So, I mean, all right, so now what will happen if you get people that really seriously want to compete with your organization? Are you, because you are wearing a lot of stuff, are you looking to take that on also? If you have a woman, a male, comes to you, hey, coach, I like this, or you see something in them, how will that transition for you?
I think at the beginning, while we kind of dig our claws into the city and get established, I think that I feel like that will come up, and I feel like I am in no position to be holding somebody back, and I will probably just send them to another gym and just say, hey, I don't have what it takes right now to nurture this and to take care of you in this way. Go to this coach. I trust them. They're going to handle you and your career great. They'll continue to coach you, whatever. Come through whenever you want. But at first, I don't think so. Maybe down the line, Chrissy talked about putting shows together for in the future. She's got Christie's Champs, and I love her nonprofit, and I love what she does with that. And
yeah, it is. She has talked with a couple of the gyms in Connecticut about doing. I know she does that one show, and I actually met her on a card out in Vegas, and spoke to her a couple of times, and in Myrtle Beach on one of the cards that she did. But yeah, she's a great advocate for the sport, and her doc is just, for people who don't know her, Christy Martin, is definitely a great doc to watch for, as an athlete and for what she had to overcome.
Yeah, it's called Deal with the Devil, and it's on Netflix. I'm gonna plug it. Watch it.
No, I've watched it. Yeah, definitely got to watch it again. Yeah. Anybody involved in boxing, great story. And she had a lot of talent and a lot of heart at a time that it was, I think, not even that I think, we know it was a lot tougher for women
like
coming
I said, her coach wouldn't give her a glance. And then she finally gets a shot to go meet Don King, and his VCR wasn't working, so she couldn't play his tapes for him. So she just started shadowboxing in the office, and he was like, all right, sure, yes, let's do this. Like, I love how entrepreneurial she is.
She's very, and you know what? If it wasn't for Don King being entrepreneurial, I might not even thought about it, because at the end of the day, he's a showman.
Yeah, he is. He very much is.
He took a chance on something, putting his name on something that at the time was, if it flopped, could have made him look really bad. Yeah,
and then you have her for the first time fighting on a Tyson card.
Yeah, headlining in Vegas. Yeah, and putting people in the seats.
Yeah.
Putting people in the seats.
First female televised boxing event. That was huge. Like, just watching this, I'm gonna geek out for a second. Knowing who she is, having seen that right when it came out, because I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. A couple years ago when it came out, for her to even know who I am is like really cool for me.
Yeah, but you know what?
She's
an advocate. Okay,
she's so down to earth, and I just admire her for overcoming what she has overcome, and for, like I said before, a lot of women don't make it out of that space. When you go through things that I've went through, that she's gone through, that a lot of women go through. Not to say that men don't go through those things, but women, a lot of them go through this. This is why this space is so important. This Femmex boxing space is so important, because if I didn't have the women around me that I do to help me and encourage me to keep pushing and to think outside of myself, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And other women need that. They need a space to be able to have a different perspective and to have resources and tools to help them get out of that space. Boxing is an invaluable tool to help women crawl out of that space. You got to climb your way out of that space. It is a dark space to be in.
I can't speak for what you went through, but I understand what you're saying as far as going. And boxing has done things for me, you know. And it's funny, my kids, when they were smaller, used to say, "Daddy's going to see his girlfriend," meaning Daddy was going to the gym.
Yeah. Yep.
Daddy would be with the fighters, or Daddy would be with doing boxing.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a joke.
Yeah.
That was put on, but boxing for me does serve a lot of things, and I think without it in my life, look, I would get by, but I would miss the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And there are days we talk about this, coaches and I. There are days I say, "Man, I don't want to do this no more." Man, what? And I get a call, right? I'll get a call. It'll be a bad call, and then the next call will come, and it'll be like, oh, and then it's right back on. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
I keep saying to everybody, like, Code, they'll come in and I want to box, and I'll say, why?
Yeah, that's what I say too.
So why don't you play freaking golf or do something else? You know what I mean? I mean, why do you want to box? Because, so let's parlay to, let's transition to a little bit of female. What do you think of the professional level right now? And on the female end, and tell me a little bit about what you've seen in some of the bigger fights between Serrano, Taylor, some of the other up-and-comers out there that you see exciting to you as a coach.
Very exciting.
Who do you like right now?
I love Amanda Serrano, and I cannot wait to work with her. I'm so excited to work with her. I think she's a wonderful woman. I think that, again, she's also very entrepreneurial. Certain women have all the pieces of the pie, right? And they know how to share it.
And I think at that level, you got to have all the pieces of the pie, because it's, you're in the spotlight and you got to market yourself out, especially in today's day and age.
Yeah, and you have to do that. If you're able to do that in that fine line, graceful, nurturing, but don't fucking play with me way, you got me. And Amanda Serrano does that, and I think she's an impeccable fighter. I love watching her fights. Katie Taylor, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, we had Katie in the gym, sparring prior to the last Serrano fight.
Very good.
She trains out of Connecticut with Coach Ross. Shout out to Coach Ross. And I haven't met Amanda, and I'm not going to say anything. I don't know her. Katie came in, a lot of the young girls that were in there. We had a lot of girls sparring that day. Was great. She worked very well, very well spoken. I think she's a big advocate also for the sport.
Yeah.
But I could see the connection between her and her coach, and getting back to that first fight that they thought she lost to Amanda. I thought, if you watch the fight, it was a tough fight in the beginning.
Absolutely.
I think the changing point in that fight was when her coach calmly spoke to her. I think it was either the 5th or 6th round, and she changed the tempo. If you go back and you watch the fight, you can see the corner, and they had some corner mics in there. That's what changed the fight, I think, right there.
Do you know, because you've got her close, do you know what he said to her?
I don't exactly remember word for word, but he was calm.
Yeah.
That fight was getting, and there were a lot of people at that fight.
It was intense, I know.
That fight was slowly slipping away. And Ross was calm during the fight. He was calm in that corner. And now I'm going to go back and see what the words were. but I remember how calm he was.
Yeah.
amongst that situation.
That does a lot.
And it just changed the whole fight.
Yep.
Changed out the whole fight.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great fight.
Yeah. It absolutely was
I
a
thought
great
it
fight.
was. I mean, it was one of the best fights I had seen in a long. Not even putting in the fact it was 2. It was a great fight.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great
And I
fight.
think they're going to sign
People
the
are
fight
still
again.
talking about it.
They're going to sign the fight again. I think.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
Talks, there's talks
Yeah.
out there for her to fight again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and obviously, you know, I don't want to miss anybody else, but there are a lot of great women fighters out there right now that are headlining cards and you know, are great for the sport right now, boxing. That, you know, it's, you know, they're mainstream.
I think that the main female fighters that we have right now that understand the weight of the position that they're in also, which is something that I think that's a wonderful thing because they have young girls looking up to them and they have younger female fighters that are aspiring to be like them. And I think that they really get that and they understand that. And I think Instagram, I think it's an invaluable tool. I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram. But for the most part, it is a very, very powerful tool. And you really get to see firsthand how these women train because they share it on Instagram. And I think that that's a wonderful way to leverage your professionalism and your career and, you know, everything that you're putting into. People get to see firsthand now what it's like, what you got to put in order to be able to be in the position.
We see it in the gym. You'll see high level, you know, women working in the gym, whether they're working with men or women, and
a lot of these women, when they spar men because there aren't other women to spar.
Two things with that though, right?
Yeah.
This is two things. You're 100% right, and especially in most gyms, it's hard to match up weights with women.
Totally, yeah, that's a huge issue.
Here's the deal. Right, so how do we make them better? Right, you're preparing somebody. We've run into this situation. Fortunately, now there's more women in the state of Connecticut that are boxing at a high level, and you know, but here, you as a woman fighter sparring with a man, great. But at the end of the day, you're not going to fight a man.
No.
Okay.
No.
You still need to answer the question now. Maybe the guy gets the best of you. Maybe you 50-50 it. Maybe you get the best of him. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he's getting the best of you because he's a little more experienced. Maybe he's a little stronger. Your confidence level is not there because you're saying in the back of your head, I'm not fighting a man. I'm going to fight a woman. So it's going to be different. So you have to have – it's good that they fight a man and have tough because I believe in sparring, you got to have levels to sparring.
Right.
You're getting somebody ready to fight.
Right.
You got to break them a little bit, make it a little tougher, you know, and challenge them here and there within reason, right? A woman's got to answer that question. Now, she's trained with a man, trained with guys in the gym, doing it. She needs to spar with a woman so she knows, hey, that's my equal. I'm better than her, or I know I'm better than her, or she's, you know what I mean? You got to answer that personal question in yourself to say that. So that part, I think, becomes challenging at times.
I would agree with you. I think the biggest challenge is, you know, first of all, that's why we spar. I think that you learn the most when you spar.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so important to do that. And I honestly think that sparring in a lot of ways is more intense than actual fights if you're really training. And you learn the most because it doesn't have the heaviness of like the title that comes after it. You're training, you know. But the other aspect of it is the coaching. If you're a good coach, you know, you have a woman fighter, you're doing your homework and your legwork to find another female fighter that you guys can connect with to spar with before any fight. So it's really on you. Like that's a kind of a tedious part of being a coach, but you call around.
No.
If you don't have a girl, but you know another coach that has a girl that might be in that weight class, so let me give you their phone number.
We network every day. And then just like you said, getting back to social media real quick, the necessity of social media today is it's a good and bad in a lot of ways.
Right.
It's, you know, in the sense it is a necessity today for, you know, to be out there, to know what's going on, to market yourself as a fighter, but also to connect.
Yeah.
You know, with women, look, we've driven to Maine to have our girl fighting a fight up there because the matchup was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
and
yeah,
that's because you're a great coach.
because we have to make a network
Yes.
as coaches to keep our people safe. But good point there. Let's pivot here. Tell me your thoughts on Clarissa Shields for this sport.
I think that it's the same as the other trainers, like our other fighters. Her heart's in it. She trains like a beast. I don't fuck with UFC. I just don't.
Forget about UFC. We're talking straight up boxing.
Yeah, I want her to stay in. I want to gatekeep her in the boxing community. I don't want to share her with the UFC community.
Do you think she's a face of female boxing?
No, absolutely not. I don't.
Do you think she could be?
Nope. I don't.
I'm firing quick questions.
That's fine.
Do you think she realizes that she should be the face of women's boxing and isn't?
Yes. And I think that...
Because, look...
Listen, I don't...
Not to take away from Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, or any of the other great women fighters out there. I'm not just... She came up with big accolades. I mean, this is a gold medal winner, excuse me. You know, train with guys.
She's an Olympic athlete.
Olympic athlete. She's got skills. She's got mad skills as a fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
she's tough as hell. Yeah.
You know, in my aspect of it is, she should be like the Muhammad Ali of women fighting.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think that a lot what I'm seeing now, I don't know her.
I don't either.
I hope to work with her one day too, honestly.
Yeah,
I think that the social media thing, like there's a point in a lot of people's career, not just with boxers, but a lot of people's careers where you get like a little taste of something else and you want more and you want to expand and you want to be entrepreneurial, but your agent should be telling you like, don't be doing those things. Stick with
But we go back to her story coming out of Michigan.
Yeah, like, girl, come on. We need you in the boxing world. Like, stay, please.
It's a good story. You weren't...
Put your head down.
Yeah. You went the hard road to get here.
She's a
overcame
beast.
a lot.
Yeah, she's a beast.
You know what I mean? You know, to be where you are now and everything like that, you definitely should be...
A little bit further along, yeah.
I'd like to see her fight more, to be perfectly
honest
with
you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'd like to see her fight more, and, you know, I get the fact that maybe...
Why do you think she isn't fighting as much? Do you think it's her management?
I don't know that much.
I've seen that before.
Honestly.
I've seen it before where you get a certain type of coach or you get a certain type of management company, and they're your biggest roadblock.
I don't think it's a management company.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's a management company.
Okay.
Okay? You got something that's marketable there. You're talking Wheatie boxes and everything right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay? Great story, right? Great talent. Probably, talent-wise, probably the most talented woman fighter out there right now, talent-wise. Okay?
Yeah, right now, yes, I would.
There's no reason. You got, you know, we go back to Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, all right? Even Katie's last fight when she fought, look at the amount of people they're putting in the seats.
Yeah.
Here's the way we look at it. Hardcore boxing people know who they are, right? We know. Hardcore. You got mainstream people talking about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano now. Don't know boxing. Right. They're going to watch that event.
But they know what
they're going to watch that event.
Yep, they know who she is.
Now, back to us, right? We know boxing. We know Clarissa Shields is a talented fighter. If she had charisma like Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather, she'd have more people watching her, I think.
Which I think is what she's doing now. Like, she's kind of, like, she had that whole run-in with Leisha Baumgartner. Did you see that the other day?
Yep, yes,
and they're
I did.
like she's like kind of dabbling in the music industry, so she's kind of popping off and like running her mouth a little bit. So I think now she's starting to kind of leverage that in trying to, like, you know, like, get people to pay attention. But I don't know. I'm not the right person to ask about this stuff. I'm not confrontational like that. I'm not gonna.
I wanted your opinion as a coach and as a female.
Because
what there.
What Amanda Serrano does, her sportsmanship is something that I admire. The way that she can go to a face-off and like act all tough, but then it's like it's all love like right after. Like she knows she.
Listen, that's part of the sport.
It is, but some people take it too far, and some people really are dickheads. And like
listen.
You know, I think that sportsmanship.
Yes.
It says a lot about you as a person and about your character. And I think that, I don't know, you don't have to do things just because other people, like, don't stoop down to people's levels, you know? Like, I'm just not that person.
No, I agree. I think, you know, you do it within a way that, you know, you show sportsmanship. But, you know, look, we know if two people are getting a fight, we don't need the over dramatics and the trash, major trash talking.
Yeah, I don't like that
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we go back to blue-collar roots. Serrano's another blue-collar, comes out of a blue-collar family.
Yeah.
She the nurse or is her sister the nurse? One of them.
Sister.
Right. So, you know, but, I mean, the bottom line is I'd like to see Clarissa fight a little bit more.
Same, yeah. I would love to also.
You know.
Because she is so talented.
Yeah, she is talented. And you know what? I get the USC carryover because the money's there. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you gotta strike.
Franchon was running her mouth about switching over to the cage because she's trying to get matched up with Clarissa,
right?
And it's not happening, and you know, because she's going over to UFC, and now Franchon's like, well, I'll train to go meet her in the cage if she doesn't want to come back into the ring.
Yeah, but you have to think about that. That's on her end too. That's a big payday for two people that are fighting in this sport.
And I can't really speak too much on it. I'm not in that world.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, you know, there's only so much I only have an opinion on it. I don't train like that. I'm not doing what they're doing, you know? And so with respect to all of those things, it's like, okay.
Right.
Can we just, Franchon's another amazing fighter. Like, I want to keep
100%.
her in this community too. Like, girl, come on. I would love to see the two of them match up. I think that would be a great fight.
It would be a great fight.
Yeah.
I think you're right. 100%. That would go right down.
Yeah.
They'd give it all there. So when can we expect brick and mortar for you?
I'm pushing for this year.
Right.
I really am. I'm pushing for this year. And yeah, we're just in the funding phase. We need funding. We need donations. We need corporate sponsorships. We need, you know, the funds to be able to, it's expensive opening a gym, and it's expensive
maintaining it.
You know that. You do it.
You know, and then obviously, look, you are wearing a lot of hats right now. If you start getting more and more people, you're going to have to add to your team.
Yes, I know.
So that's another, you know, and, you know, there are a lot of good things happening out there. And it's going to be exciting to see how this all plays out for you. Yeah,
it's been really, I am trying to have fun with it. I really am.
Yeah.
I was very serious about it for a very long time. There's no reason to.
It's your baby.
It is my baby.
You're building it. You're building it. So you know what? You got to have the passion for what you're building.
Yep. And it's just, I have this vision, and I've never wavered from it, and nothing is going to.
I love the name. I could see the name on a lot of places in a lot of cities.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, I could see the name on a lot of, you know, as you go by, maybe a little strip mall or something, or facility,
by itself,
and, you know, to brand this out a little bit more. And I know you're doing a lot of stuff on your own right now, and you probably get in the weeds at times and say, "Hey, what the hell am I doing?"
Yeah.
You ever want to throw the towel in?
Absolutely not. Because then I'm making
not even vaguely.
No, because then I'm making it about me, and it's not about me. You know, it's just not.
Nah, not about you, but you know what? Obstacles sometimes make us question what we're doing, or if it's going to come to fruition.
I have no doubt that it will,
Right.
and we don't really know each other that well, but anybody that actually knows me knows that, like, how stubborn I am
Right.
when it comes to stuff like once I have an idea in my head, this has been the most prominent one ever. Nothing is gonna. I'm like, get the fuck out of the way, like,
right,
you know.
well.
And I've gotten a little bit more softer.
No, it takes a couple of bad ideas to make a good idea.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure. But no, I'm everybody that I speak to about this, they love the idea.
Yeah.
They want to figure out how to support. They want to help, and they, and
I like it when Al called me and put us together. He was telling me, and Al, and I met him, and since we've met, he's a high energy boxing guy, and he's like, he speaks very highly about what you're doing, and he's down in that area. I know he's in the trenches over there too.
Yeah.
He's good people. His heart is in the right sport, the right place. Excuse me. Obviously I can see, but it seems like you have good people around you, guiding you in this process to get to where you got to get to.
Yep.
You're being patient, and hopefully within the next couple of months we could see you open and running. We'd be happy to come down there for your grand opening.
Oh, you got a personal invite. Yes.
You know what I mean? But,
I'm going to have a big ass party.
Awesome. And then look, we'd love to have you up here maybe one day talking in the gym, and
I would love
coming
that.
over, and especially maybe when we have open sparring and we have a lot of the other young women amateurs coming from around the state, and now we're getting them coming from out of state, so it's very promising. It is.
That's exciting.
It is. I mean, when Katie came in, and a lot of these girls didn't know Katie came in, and we had set up sparring for her, and there were a lot of girls there. It was just there were more girls sparring than guys that day, and it was pretty exciting.
That I've never even seen before.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Pretty good. There's some really good amateur women fighters in the state of Connecticut right now at a lot of the gyms. I kind of finish up with a couple of different things here. I fire a couple questions at you.
Sure.
All right. So the way we kind of go is like, if you were in a foxhole, who's the person next to you that you're picking to be in that foxhole with you? Could be anybody. Dead, alive, whatever.
Oh. If I was in a foxhole, who do I want next to me in a foxhole? I would jump the gun and say my partner, because he's so goddamn smart and he's hilarious. So he would help me save my life and make me laugh the entire time.
Yeah, good.
So probably him.
You want to shout him out?
But the other person, can I have one person on each side of me?
I'll make an exception for you, okay? I'll make an exception. Go ahead.
Probably Louise, because she's just my main.
Okay.
She's like a mother figure to me, and she's
All right, so we might have to add two people in the foxhole.
just like you're in a foxhole and you're in the middle. Who's on the right side? Who's on the left side?
Yeah, that's good. We might have to change that up.
Yeah, so we'll do the.
So
they would both get along too.
All right, good.
And yeah, it would be a good time, I think, in the foxhole.
Right.
Yeah.
You get 3 dinner guests.
Ooh.
Who are they? Doesn't matter, dead, alive, whatever, celebrities, whatever, it doesn't matter. You get 3 people you're going to sit down and have dinner with. Who you want there?
Prince, Beyonce, and Muhammad Ali.
Oh, that was quick. I think most people pause on that. You went right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you coming
up. Yeah,
thank
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know what I mean? And it was an honor to have you here and talk about what you're doing. We wish you guys much success with Femmex Boxing.
Thank you.
Please keep us posted. Where can we find you on social media with Femmex Boxing? Please tell us.
Yeah, Instagram, LinkedIn. My website is femmexboxing.org. There's a giant donate button on the site. You can donate. $5 is great. $5,000 is even better. Yeah, there's. I'm mainly Instagram and LinkedIn. Okay, those are my 2.
Guys, give a look at Coach Tara Orr at Femmex Boxing. If we could help out here, we appreciate it. It's a great cause, and we look forward to having her open down there, doing great things, not only for the sport of boxing, but for the community and, for women alone out there. I think this is a great thing out there in our sport. And, we appreciate your support. Shout out to my guy, Wiley Grady, Foursquare, Mount Vernon hats. Check him out in the ATL. He'll print your equipment. My main guy, Big Al Ra, Pro Se Boxing.
Yes.
Much love to you, buddy. And, obviously my man, Ian Bick.
Thank you.
Creative Evolution here for filming our podcast. And you can check us out on YouTube and on Instagram. Appreciate you again, and we'll catch you next time on Coach's Corner.